Good afternoon and welcome back to The Longing. And we are going to continue to walk through the halls of eternity. Now, this particular section of walking is either going to be the last section, i.e. when we finish the episode today, we will have managed to make it to the door, or there will be one more episode. Well, it's a rough calculation. Because we don't always walk exactly the same amount of distance. Because some days there is a delay in me actually starting walking when I start the episode, and some days we end up walking further than expected because I've lost track of time, for example, and we're just what is it? Just distracted enough to just keep walking, meaning that we actually get a bit further in those particular episodes. But yeah, that's just one thing that happens. Oh, excuse me. One thing I do want to talk about is a real life thing. Is my work is introducing a thing of back to work, which is 2 days a week back in the office, which I have several reservations about. Just the first one being it's completely pointless for me to go back in the office. There is nothing I can do in the office that I can't do not in the office, except get heavily distracted by other people. The other disadvantages are I effectively can't continue to do what I've been doing with this, which is recording and editing this video during my lunch break. I won't be able to do that anymore on those days, which means I'll have to do that in the evenings, and that will impact my streaming times on the days that I have to go in, if I have a stream on those days. Otherwise it will eat into my evening free time anyway, which I like to relax on a little bit more. I mean, it's not that this isn't relaxing, it's just there are other things I could be doing, whereas the hour that I'm at work at lunch is an hour that is wasted because I won't be able to do anything except sit and wait. So what I might actually do is see if it's alright for me to take a reduced lunch at work if I have to go in, so that I can waste less time, because it is just wasted time when I'm in the office because I haven't got anything to do. All I have is eat lunch. At least at home I can record the episode, go and make my lunch, which, to be honest, when I go into the office my lunch is going to be awful in comparison, because at home I make beans on toast, which is a hot meal that has a decent amount of calories and such. In the office it's going to be a crappy sandwich from Tesco or something, or homemade. Not going to be as good, not going to be as calorific, which means I'm probably going to end up needing to get a pot noodle or something ridiculous just to boost the calorie count, just to boost the calorie amount. Yeah, it's dead time driving in and out. I mean, yes, I'm fortunate that I do have the option to work from home, don't get me wrong, and if I didn't have the option I would have to drive in anyway, and was doing so beforehand. But there is absolutely no physical reason as to why I need to be in the office. That's what really grinds my gears about it, is that there is no physical reason. It just feels like they're going back to presenteeism rather than work getting done. They want physical bodies in physical office because reasons. Because it's the way it's always been done. Well, that's how times change. Things get done differently, in my view. But yeah, it does just kind of feel like they're going back to presenteeism, which is completely pointless. And for someone like me who doesn't exactly do great in social situations, and is also one of the reasons I quit in the first place when I quit 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago now, was because I was in the office all the time and around people all the time, and it built up and built up and built up, and I'm not great at social situations in person. Online it's fine. There's something different about that. So the idea of potentially building a workplace community is flawed because you have people like me who suffer, which makes the workplace community suffer. It's far better to give people the option to go in if they need that, because not everyone needs to be in face to face with people all the time, or even most of the time. I'm quite happy not. Don't get me wrong, there are times where it would be nice to be in person, but I would much rather have the option, not be forced into it. I would much rather have the option. I've never had that desire to be in the office to do my work, to even meet with other people in the office since starting working again. Never had that. So it feels kind of redundant and pointless and detrimental to me. So I'm probably going to try and argue the case of it shouldn't be mandatory, especially considering we've proven through the pandemic that it isn't required, and people should be given the option. And while extroverts may have suffered working from home, I fully accept that, introverts have blossomed. Like, it's ridiculous. And now they're wanting to force people back into work because of reasons that don't make sense. Presenteeism. So yeah, that was a bit of a rant from me. That's on my mind, and I'm also using these longing videos sometimes to do little rants about things that are in my head because it's a good place. I know it's not relevant to the game, but at the minute we are in the halls of eternity anyway, and heck, we might as well reflect on our life. What better time to do it than in a never-ending corridor of white? Well, it'll end eventually, but as far as what is concerned, the going in one direction is concerned, it'll never end. As far as I know. It might be coded so that if you walk for the full 400 days or something, it will end, but I'm not aware of that. So yeah, that's what's on my mind. And I think I am going to try and argue the case, because they were aware when they hired me of what I was talking about, my issues, my reasons for leaving last time. They are aware of it and have fully accepted it as a risk, so they've got to deal with the consequences, I suppose. It's such a small and simple thing, and yet it seems to have such a big impact on me for some reason. the idea of going back into work, it just riles me up. Like physically back into work. I don't mind doing the work. Obviously, the work's fine in itself. It's just the being in the office pointlessly. That's what gets me. But anyway, we are now over the 10-minute mark. I've had my little rant. I know I'm being childish and such, but it is something that employers these days need to understand is not everyone needs to be or should be in the office if they don't want to be, because if they can as well, because it's detrimental to their mental health and detrimental to their productivity, to be quite honest. But anyway, that's enough of that rant. I'm going to say thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon or night, no matter what time of day it is. Have a wonderful one of it. And as always, we will be back tomorrow with more of The Longing, where hopefully we'll finally make it out of the halls of eternity. Goodbye.